Discover the incredible moment a delivery girl exposed 9 programmers, leaving the CEO shocked. Mia hustled through the bustling streets of her suburban neighborhood, her heart pounding with every breath. She was just a delivery girl, sure, but she had a purpose. Raised by a single mother who worked countless hours, Mia learned early that family came first. As she pedaled her bike to the popular tech startup, a sense of responsibility fueled her, driven by the weight of her family's hopes resting on her shoulders. This delivery might seem mundane, but for Mia, it was just another step toward the American dream. When she arrived, the aroma of fresh sandwiches hit her. But what she stumbled into next shattered her quiet resolve. Eavesdropping on a group of 9 programmers, their words sent chills down her spine. They boasted about cutting costs, brimming with pride over how they exploited low-wage remote workers from vulnerable communities. Mia's heart tightened. These were real people, not just distant voices. Her gut twisted at the thought of her mom, toiling away, trying to keep the family afloat. Just then, a voice broke through her thoughts. Mia's younger sister had recently gotten a foot in the door at the same company but was already talking about how she felt dismissed and overlooked. Mia felt a flame ignite within her. How could they disregard the dreams of talented individuals, especially those of her sister? She had watched her sister shine, only to be overlooked due to unconscious bias. Rage boiled inside her, urging her to act. Before she realized it, Mia found herself confronting the programmers. "What you're doing is wrong." Her voice quaked with indignation as the group turned silent, eyes wide with surprise. The CEO, who had been blissfully unaware, stepped back, shocked at the commotion. Mia didn't care about the risk anymore. This wasn't just for her family, it was for justice. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Fueled by the grasp of her love for family and a newfound sense of responsibility, Mia felt lighter yet heavier. As she stood tall, she pushed these programmers to reconsider their actions. The tension wrapped around them like a thick fog. With each word, her determination shone through, calling out for change, for recognition of those who worked so hard yet remained invisible. As she left the office that day, Mia felt both exhilarated and terrified. She had unleashed something, a ripple effect that could turn into a wave. Her community needed someone, anyone, to stand against the injustice they'd been swallowed by for too long. But just when hope began to bloom, a dark thought crashed over her. Would backlash from the very company that operated in the shadows of her neighborhood send her family spiraling back into uncertainty? Could her act of bravery lead to real change, or would it all come crashing down? The battle was just beginning, and Mia stood on the precipice of her destiny, heart racing, mind racing, ready to take the plunge into the unknown. Mia's bike was still parked by the curb when she got home, excitement and dread swirling in her giddy mind. She pushed the door open and stepped inside, enveloped in the familiar scent of spice and warmth. Her mom was in the kitchen, swaying to a tune on the radio as she stirred a pot. Mia's heart sunk just a little. The notion that she might disrupt this cozy rhythm weighed heavily upon her. "Mia!" Her mom called out, her face lighting up the moment their eyes met. "You're home early. How was your day?" Mia hesitated, every instinct telling her to keep her confrontation secret. But in that moment, the gravity of what she had witnessed surged back. "Mom, I need to talk to you." Her mom turned off the stove and dried her hands on a dishcloth, concern replacing her joyful expression. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Mia hesitated, then framed her words carefully. "I was at the tech company, and I overheard some programmers." She quickly recounted the scene, highlighting the way they had treated their workers, the cost-cutting measures that took advantage of people just like them. Silence filled the room, punctuated by the rhythm of the ticking clock. Her mom absorbed the information, brow furrowing deeper with each word. "That's quite alarming," she finally replied, her voice steady but edged with worry. "You could be gotten in trouble for that." "Maybe," Mia admitted, a small shove of defiance pushing to the front of her mind, but it felt like the right thing to do. Someone had to stand up. Her mom placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, but Mia could sense her unspoken concerns. "It's brave, Mia. But bravery comes with risks. We need to think carefully about the consequences, for you, for us." Mia knew what her mother meant. They were already barely scraping by. Were they ready to risk everything? But that flicker of uncertainty sparked a realization in Mia. Maybe standing up can create change. Maybe she bit her lip, a surge of hope mixed with fear flooding through her. What if we found a way to amplify our voices? Create a movement? Her mom studied her intently, the corners of her mouth turning upward slightly. "You've got fire, Mia. But fire can be destructive if you're not careful. Are you prepared for whatever might come next?" Mia breathed deeply, nodding slowly. "I think I am. I have to be." Later that night, Mia tossed and turned. She couldn't shake the image of her sister being overlooked, like so many others. Inspiration struck. They could gather people, share their stories, and build a network of support. But how? Where would they even begin? The next day, she set off on her bike again, a new sense of purpose propelling her. She passed familiar scenes, but this time they blurred as her mind raced ahead. What would it take to bring the community together? A meeting? A rally? The thought both thrilled and terrified her. As she approached a nearby park, Mia spotted a group of young people huddled together, deep in conversation. The idea crystallized. If she shared her story, others would likely want to share theirs. Together, they could find strength in numbers. However, just as she was about to pull over, she overheard snippets of their chat that sent a chill down her spine. They were discussing her confrontation with the tech company, speculating wildly about the repercussions. "They say she's going to get fired, or worse," one voice said. Mia's heart raced as she skidded to a stop. What had she set in motion? Would the backlash really be as bad as they feared? And if so, how could she protect her family while igniting change? With an anxious breath, she steeled herself. This was not just a battle for workers' rights, it was a fight for her family's future. But now she faced a choice: how far was she willing to go for this cause? The moment had come to decide. Mia leaned her bike against a nearby tree and crossed her arms, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. The group she had been planning to approach seemed oblivious to the storm brewing around her reputation. She fought the urge to ride away, instead staying rooted in place, listening, trying to find out who was talking about her. "Did you hear what she did?" Another voice chimed in, laced with skepticism. "She could really ruin her career before it even starts." "Yeah, but she's brave," a girl replied, her tone surprisingly respectful. "Not a lot of people would have the guts to speak out like that." Encouraged, Mia took a breath. Brave. That's what she wanted to be. But the stakes had risen. What if speaking out did come with consequences? Her thoughts raced, feeling the weight of the moment. She finally stepped forward. "Excuse me, guys, I couldn't help but overhear." Their heads turned in unison, surprised and curious. "I'm Mia. And yes, I did confront some programmers at the tech company. But I also want to start a movement, to share our stories and create some real change." The initial shock morphed into silence, then a flood of questions. A boy with tousled hair stepped closer. "A movement? Like, a protest?" His eyes brightened with interest. "Well, something like that. More of a gathering, at first," Mia replied, her voice steady despite her nerves. "A chance for people to come together and speak up about their experiences. If we combine our voices, we can be heard. What if they come after you? An older girl asked, her brow knitting with concern. You could lose your job or worse, another added, glancing around as if expecting someone to overhear. Mia raised a hand. I don't know what is going to happen. But I know things need to change, and I can't stand by while knowing what I know. And if I back down now, what does that mean for all of us? As the words left her mouth, she felt each listener's gaze weighing on her. The boy with tousled hair seemed to be weighing the idea. I'm in, he said finally. Let us do something. More voices chimed in, one after another, validation sparking excitement in Mia's chest. I can bring my friends. I'll spread the word. What if we did it at the park next Saturday? As their ideas flowed, a sense of possibility filled the air. This was it. This was the moment they would begin to rise. But even as hope blossomed, Mia felt a shadow of doubt creep in. How would they actually pull this off? Gathering people was just the beginning. Would they really be prepared for what came next? Mia? A voice jolted her from her thoughts. It was the girl who had first spoken. Her eyes were serious. You know the company will come after you if they find out, right? Are you ready for that? An unexpected rush of warmth filled Mia as she stared back at the group that had begun to form around her. Side by side, they looked strong. I'll do what I have to, she replied, determination flooding her voice. For all of us. I'll be ready. But as she spoke, a nagging fear tugged at her gut. What if everything went wrong? Was she ready to face not just the company, but the consequences of her actions? The chatter around her grew louder as they started to brainstorm ideas, but her heart raced with uncertainty. She felt the weight of the world resting on her shoulders, and she realized that she had a choice ahead of her, a decision that could change everything. Would she take the plunge into the unknown, risking everything for the right cause? As she looked around at her newfound allies, she made her choice. What if we take this further? Mia said, a bold new idea sparking in her mind. What if we could get people in the community involved? What if we held open forums or even hired speakers? The group erupted in enthusiasm, but Mia's thoughts jittered within her. She possessed the power to ignite something monumental. Yet she couldn't shake the nagging worry that loomed over her like a storm cloud. Would they truly be able to rally support? Or would fear silence their efforts before they even began? Mia gripped the handlebars of her bike tightly, heart thumping in sync with her rising resolve. As their voices blended into an electric hum of chatter and determination, Mia felt a flicker of hope against the uncertainty. But that hope came with a price, one she wasn't sure she was ready to pay. What if she failed? What if advocating for change only put her family in greater jeopardy? With those haunting questions still resonating in her mind, Mia knew the path ahead was steep. But was it one she could walk? The answers were just beyond the horizon, waiting like a whisper in the wind. Mia felt a wave of exhilaration wash over her as the gathered crowd buzzed with energy. Their faces glowed with hope, yet in the midst of that, uncertainty gnawed at her insides. For all their enthusiasm, the reality lingered heavy in the air. Could they really pull off a movement? As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the park, the group began discussing logistics. We can meet again tomorrow, maybe at the cafe? Suggested the boy with tousled hair. His excitement was infectious, but every mention of meeting set off alarm bells in Mia's mind. What if we got a Facebook page going? Another girl proposed. It could reach so many people. Great idea, Mia said, yet a knot tightened in her chest. She touched her phone, the reality of quick communication turning daunting. If the wrong eyes got on their page, let us set it up tonight. The girl said with uncontainable enthusiasm. Mia felt her mouth curl into a hesitant smile. The spirit of the group was growing stronger. But courage came at a cost. Wait, Mia interjected, forcing her voice over the rising tide of suggestions. We need to consider the risks. We have to be smart about this. Heads turned, and the air cracked with tension. We can't just rush in without a plan. Silence hung for a moment as her words settled in. She could see the realities of fear coating the group's enthusiasm. Then the girl who had first asked about repercussions spoke up, "Mia's right. What happens if they retaliate? It's not just about us anymore," Mia continued. "We have to protect not just our voices, but each other. I can't bear the thought of any of you getting hurt because of my choice." In that moment, she felt the atmosphere shift. Some nods of understanding spread through the group, reaffirming this newfound alliance. "Yeah, what if we create safe spaces?" suggested the boy again. "Where people can come and share stories anonymously? No names, just experiences." "Yes," Mia exclaimed, feeling a rush of relief. "And we can invite people who've been affected by what's happening in the company, too. Their stories could help people connect." The ideas bounced around like a pinball machine, an electric thrill bouncing through Mia. But as ideas turned to action, a creeping doubt returned, testing her resolve. They were strong together, but what if their voices faded against a powerful corporation? That evening, as Mia set up her bike to head home, her thoughts raced. She couldn't ignore the danger in every new decision they made. The way the group depended on her felt heavy, and she wondered was she strong enough to uphold this hope. Just as she was about to ride away, her phone vibrated in her pocket. She glanced at the screen. A notification from an unfamiliar number. Curious, she opened it. "Keep your mouth shut. You don't know what you're getting into." A chill swept through her. The message was clear, and her heart sank. This was just the beginning of the fight. Riding away from the park, Mia felt the weight of that text pressing heavily against her. The thought of their gathering and the community involvement seemed so far away now. How could she protect herself, her family, and her newfound friends when this powerful corporation had its eyes on her? But emotions boiled within her, a storm brimming between fear and resolve. The spark ignited into a flame. Here she stood, a young woman fueled by a desire for change, faced with terrifying threats. Would she let fear dictate her choices? Or would she stand her ground, no matter the cost? With every pedal towards home, she contemplated the next steps. The fight was far from over, it was just beginning. And if she was going to make waves, she'd better prepare for the storm that was coming. What if she dared to raise her voice anyway? What if she chose to fight the fear that threatened to hold her back, knowing the stakes were higher than she ever imagined? Mia's heart pounded as she pedaled through the darkening streets, the wind biting at her cheeks. The city lights flickered like distant stars overhead, but the thrill of the upcoming movement felt like a fire within her, burning against the chill. She needed to take a stand for herself and others, but the threat of that message lingered like a shadow. Arriving home, she barely noticed the quiet house. It felt like a second skin, familiar yet stifling. She dropped her bike on the porch with a thud and stepped inside, her thoughts racing ahead. How would she break the news to her parents about what was at stake? Would they still see her as their Mia, the girl who used to weave stories instead of stirring up trouble? She sat at the kitchen table, her fingers tapping nervously against the wood. The darkness outside mirrored her swirling thoughts. She grabbed her phone and hesitated, finger hovering over the contact list. Would her friends still trust her after everything? She swiped through the screen, glancing at the group chat they had started. A flurry of messages danced there, filled with excitement and determination. It intimidated and emboldened her at once. Deciding to embrace the fire, Mia began typing. "Hey everyone. I think we need to meet tonight to discuss some serious stuff. The risks are real. We have to be smart." The sending animation swirled on her screen, and she took a deep breath, both fearful and relieved. Almost immediately, replies flooded in. "I'm in. We can figure this out. Do we have to worry about that text? What does it mean by, keep your mouth shut? The energy felt palpable, even through the screen. Mia's pulse quickened. Maybe they were stronger together, and they needed to act sooner rather than later. As the messages continued flying back and forth, her resolve solidified. They were all in this together now, and she wouldn't let fear dictate their path. Moments later, the front door creaked open, and her mother called out, "Mia? You in here?" "Yeah," she responded, trying to cast off the weight of everything before her parent walked in. This was the last person she wanted to worry about. Her mother entered the kitchen, glancing at the scattered papers strewn across the table. "What's all this?" Just as Mia prepared to explain, the timer on the oven beeped, and her mother turned to grab dinner. It was a mundane distraction, a moment of normalcy in the heated storm of thoughts racing through Mia's mind. She knew she had to break the news, and yet, vulnerability rooted her to the spot. Mom," she began, her voice wavering. "Can we talk about something important later?" Her mother turned, concern etching lines around her eyes. "Is everything okay? You seem off." Mia wanted to scream that everything was far from okay. The stakes were too high, and if she let her mother in, would it cause more fear than reassurance? Instead, she forced a smile, a mask she had learned to wear. "Yeah, just a lot on my plate right now." Dinner was a blur of distracted conversation, and when Mia finally retreated to her room, her mind raced. She opened her laptop, navigating to the blank document. With each word that flowed onto the screen, Mia began to draft an outline for their movement. She wrote urgently, knowing that gathering their thoughts could light a flame in others too. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. Another message from the group. "Where should we meet?" Mia frowned, pausing to organizationally sort her thoughts. "How about my place?" She typed back quickly. "My parents will be out. We can talk openly." But as she hit send, doubt crept in again. Would they see her as their leader? Who was she to guide this movement, in the shadow of that ominous text? Every part of her wanted to retreat, yet her fingers hovered above the keyboard, itching to press on. What if they failed? What if it all came crashing down? That very thought struck hard, leaving her breathless. Yet, as the warm glow of her screen illuminated her worried face, she understood that even the strongest sunglasses can't block out the truth forever. If they were to fight a corporation, they had to fight together, not just for change, but for their very voices. And just as she decided to put those thoughts down for good, a new message pinged in. It was from the boy with tousled hair. "Mia. You're gonna want to see this." Her breath caught, a blend of anxiety and curiosity. The storm was rolling in, and she felt a pulse of adrenaline shoot through her. What was coming next? Would it be the answer they all needed or another hurdle to leap? Mia's heart raced as she opened the message from Jake. The little screen seemed to pulse with its own energy, as if daring her to look. She clicked on the notification, and her breath caught in her throat. A video began to load, and she could feel the weight of anticipation pressing down on her. The clip started with shaky footage of a group of young adults, college students, perhaps gathered around a table cluttered with papers and laptops. They were animated, voices rising and falling as they discussed something from off-screen. Suddenly, the camera shifted focus to a girl with bright pink hair holding a placard. The words on it were bold and electrifying: "We deserve better." Mia's heart flipped. This was it. The energy and spirit of young people rallying against the bigger forces that tried to silence them. Watching, she felt a surge of hope mingled with urgency. As the video played, a voice began narrating, "We cannot remain quiet while they take advantage of us. This is our moment to rise." The narrator's passion filled Mia with a sense of belonging. This was a fight she understood, a cause that felt like home. But just as she was about to savor the powerful message, the video took a sharp turn. An image of the company's CEO flashed across the screen, his face twisted into an arrogant smirk. The narrator's voice took on a harder edge. "In a few days, the people behind this company are meeting to decide our fate. We need to be heard before they make their move. Mia swallowed hard, her stomach in knots. The stakes felt even higher than before. If they were serious about this wave of activism, they would have to dig deep and be unyielding. Suddenly, the words of the anonymous threat echoed in her mind: keep your mouth shut. What if someone from her circle was involved? Would that put them all at risk? She turned the volume up, drowning out her worries with the voice that spoke from the screen, brimming with determination. It was a reminder that courage was contagious. She knew her friends would feel it too, that spark lighting a fire in each of them. Before she knew it, the video ended, leaving an eerie silence hanging in the air. Mia stared at her phone, her pulse racing, as if she were back outside in the cool evening breeze. She typed furiously into the group chat, urgency guiding her fingers. Guys, we need to meet up immediately. Something major is happening and we can't afford to wait. Seconds ticked by painfully until Jake responded, I'm in. What is going down? Mia replied, just trust me. This is bigger than we thought. Bring everyone. Her heart beat in her throat as she prepared for what lay ahead. She had to turn the tide, transform their energy into action. But the looming threat still prickled at her skin. Just then, another ping from her phone shattered her thoughts. An anonymous message cast its shadow across her resolve: meet me or I'll expose all your plans. Mia's pulse raced again, a wave of panic washing over her like ice-cold water. Was this a warning from the corporation? Who was sending it? Did they even know about her plans? Biting her lip, Mia felt the fire of determination reignite inside her. She would not back down. She had everything to gain if they could rally, but at what cost? What did this mean for her friends, for the movement? Mia took a deep breath, steeling herself. How could she protect her friends while urging them to fight for their voices? In that moment, a thought crystallized: they had to confront this head-on. No more waiting. Feeling a mix of dread and determination, she hit send once more, hoping for the best but ready for the worst. Something monumental was on the verge of breaking. She just didn't know if it would enkindle hope or devastation. As the door creaked behind her, connecting the chaos of her thoughts to reality, Mia turned, heart pounding against her ribcage. Was it her friends arriving or a new threat lurking behind? She couldn't tell, and it terrified her more than the messages. Who's there? She shouted, bracing herself. Would this be the moment that changed everything? The door swung open slowly, creaking like an old horror movie. The dim light from the hallway illuminated a figure stepping into the room. Mia squinted, her heart hammering as she tried to make out who it was. It's just me, Emma said, rolling her eyes as she pushed past the threshold. She looked frazzled, her usually perfect hair tangled and wild, but determination gleamed in her eyes. I got your message. What is going on? Mia let out a breath of relief, but it was short-lived. She glanced back at her phone, the anonymous message still hovering ominously in her mind. It was a warning and a threat, a reminder that they were in deeper than ever. What if they know? Mia's voice trembled slightly, the weight of her worry spilling out. What if they're watching us right now? Emma shook her head, her expression turning serious as her smile faded. Then we need to act. Waiting isn't going to help us. We can't let fear stop us. Just then, the rest of the group began filtering in, faces lit with curiosity and concern. Jake was the last one, moving almost stealthily, his eyes darting around like an animal sensing danger. What's all this about? He asked, glancing between Mia and Emma, clearly sensing the tension in the air. We saw a video, Mia began, her voice steadying. It's about a movement. We need to gather as many voices as we can before the meeting in a few days. But she paused, gripping her phone tightly. Someone threatened me. Gasps filled the room as the weight of her words sank in. Emma crossed her arms and stepped closer, her features hardening. Then we can't let fear dictate this, Mia. If they think they can intimidate us, they're wrong. Jake leaned back against the wall, visibly processing the information. What's our plan then? How do we fight this? Mia's heart raced as she began outlining her thoughts, her voice trembling with conviction. We need to mobilize. This isn't just about us. It's about everyone who feels powerless against this corporation. We can't let them decide our future without hearing what we have to say. The energy in the room shifted, a fire igniting in each friend's eyes as they began to brainstorm ideas. They discussed social media campaigns, rallies, and flyers, ways to spread the message like wildfire. The sense of purpose felt like a shield against the fear that had been gnawing at Mia, but amidst the excitement, Mia's gut twisted with a nagging worry. What about the threat? They were stepping into a storm, and the thought filled her with dread. She needed to protect her friends, yet she also craved this fight for something greater. Okay, I'm in, Jake's voice broke through her thoughts, pulling her back. But we have to be careful. If they know about this, what does that even mean for us? Mia felt the urgency wrap around her like a cloak. That's exactly why we need to act fast. The sooner we gather strength, the less power they have over us. With every passing moment, she felt bolder, though shadows of uncertainty loomed in her mind. The door might hold a threat, but that didn't stop them from walking toward it. They were fighting for something real, but it could come at a cost she wasn't entirely prepared for. Remember, Emma said, her voice piercing through, our strength lies in each other, and they can't take our voices unless we let them. As they rallied, readying themselves for the battle ahead, Mia's phone buzzed again. This time, she didn't look at it. The threat had turned into background noise in the cacophony of hope and defiance building around her. Mia felt adrenaline surging, transforming anxiety into action. They would face this together, but would their resolve be enough? Would the fight they ignited bring them liberation or lead to downfall? With those burning questions in mind, she stowed her phone and stepped further into the light, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. What she didn't know was that someone else was also watching from the shadows, and they had their own plans about how to derail Mia's movement. The next day dawned dreary and overcast. Mia stood by her window, looking out at the rain pouring down in heavy sheets. The somber sky seemed to echo her doubts. As much as she wanted to feel bold and powerful, a small part of her still trembled at the thought of the anonymous message. What if the threat was far more real than she wanted to admit? Emma's voice pulled her from her thoughts when she called on Mia's phone. Are you ready? We need to meet at the cafe. The others are waiting. Mia hesitated for a moment before responding. Yeah, I'll be there. The cafe was buzzing with energy, filled with people laughing, talking, and sipping coffee. When Mia entered, the sweet smell of baked goods and the rich aroma of coffee swirled around her, pulling her into a moment of calm. Emma was already there, perched on a stool and waving her hand excitedly at Mia. Jake was flipping through notes while Anna and Sam sat nearby, deep in conversation. Mia! Over here! Emma called, her voice loud above the chatter. Seeing her friend's enthusiasm brightened Mia's mood, easing some of her anxiety. As Mia sat down, Jake looked up, his eyes serious. We have to finalize our plans for the online rally. If we don't get the word out now, we will lose our momentum. Momentum, Mia echoed, trying to absorb the enthusiasm around her. They had settled on a date, but her mind kept wandering. Would this rally work? Would they actually be able to change anything? Emma leaned forward, her eyes intense. We have to be fearless. They want to scare us into silence, but we have so much to say. This rally is our voice. Mia nodded slowly, feeling the mix of dread and determination behind Emma's words. She pulled out her notebook, the blank pages glaring back at her as her mind raced to think of something constructive to write. But just as words began to form, her phone buzzed, jolting her back to reality. Not again, she muttered under her breath, glancing at the screen. It was another message, this time with a photo attached. Her heart dropped as she recognized the image. It was of her house, taken from a distance. They were watching her. The threat was real. "Everything okay?" Jake asked, looking up as Mia paled. No, it was far from okay. "I got another message. They know where I live," she whispered, her voice trembling as she glanced at Emma and Jake. The room went silent. Fear draped over them like a thick fog. "Okay, we need to figure this out," Anna said firmly, her face set in determination. "We can't hide. We have to turn this around." "I can stay with you," Emma suggested, her brows knit. "We'll create a plan, make sure they can't intimidate us." Mia blinked back tears, grateful for her friends. "Thank you, but I can't allow this to stop us. Everyone is counting on us to speak out." "We'll speak out, but we'll do it smart," Sam added, his voice calm but insistent. "We need to stay one step ahead." They all leaned in closer, scrambling for ideas, their voices a blend of urgency and hope. Mia drew in a breath, trying to calm the storm threatening inside her. "Okay. Let us hammer out the details for the rally first. They can watch, but they won't stop us." As they discussed strategies, a sense of unity steadied Mia's pounding heart. They were together in this fight, and that power surged through her. They could do this, but outside the cafe, someone lingered nearby, dressed in dark clothing, eyes fixed on the group. They were not just bystanders, but rather a player in the game of intimidation, watching the rally take shape. The moment they moved could change everything. Mia felt a chill run down her spine. Were they really ready for the storm brewing close by? "Let us get this rally started," she said with renewed fire, though unease simmered beneath the surface. But as they rose to make their plans, Mia wondered, would their voices really drown out the shadows creeping closer, or would they be overrun before they even began? As the door swung shut behind Mia and her friends, the sound of chatter and clinking cups faded into the background, but the tension lingered in the air. They walked with purpose, each step echoing their resolve, yet underneath, Mia's heart thudded against her ribcage, louder than any rally call. She glanced at Emma, who walked closely beside her, determination radiating from her. "Are you sure you want to go through with this?" Emma asked, concern etched on her face. "I have to." "For everyone," Mia replied, her voice steady though doubt clawed at her. "We can't let them silence us. They want to intimidate us, but if we give in now, it will only be worse." The group moved to the local park, the designated spot for their rally. The rain had finally let up, leaving the ground glistening and fresh, as if nature was reminding them that new beginnings were possible. Sam set up the speakers while Jake arranged the banners that would carry their message. Anna was busy scribbling details on a whiteboard that was quickly filling up with their battle plan. Mia felt both exhilarated and anxious. Each time she caught sight of her phone, her stomach twisted. She still hadn't managed to shake off the shadows of that last message. The picture kept flashing in her mind, the image of her house anchored to a chain of fear that seemed unbreakable. "Hey, let us practice our speeches," Jake suggested, looking at Mia expectantly. "You lead." "Me?" Mia blinked, caught off guard. The rally was her idea, but taking center stage was another beast altogether. She felt her palms grow clammy at the thought. "Yeah. You're the heart of this. If we're gonna make a statement, we need you leading us," Emma chimed in, a spark of enthusiasm in her voice. Mia took a deep breath, forcing herself to stand taller. "All right, here goes nothing." As she stepped forward, the rest of the team fell silent, eyes fixed on her. She cleared her throat, feeling the weight of their hopes resting on her shoulders. "We're here because our voices matter. We believe in change, in standing up for what's right, even when they try to scare us into silence." Encouraged by the nods around her, she continued, "But we can't just shout into the void. We need strategy. We need unity. We need each other." Her words flowed more naturally, fueled by the passion igniting within her. With each sentence, she saw the fire light up in her team's eyes, as if they were ready to set the world ablaze with their message. when she finished, applause erupted around her. The thrill of acceptance coursed through her veins, momentarily eclipsing her fears. Yet, as the group excitedly began discussing logistics, Mia's heart again jolted as she noticed a figure lurking at the edge of the park. A dark silhouette observed them from afar, like a storm cloud looming over the hopeful skies. "Hey, do you see that?" she whispered to Emma, her voice barely above a hush. Emma's gaze followed Mia's, confusion crossed her features. "See what? There's someone over there, watching us." Jake glanced out, squinting. "It might just be a passerby. Let us not jump to conclusions." But Mia's intuition screamed otherwise. This was more than a coincidence. The figure hadn't moved, and the sense of being watched clawed at her resolve. What if they were there to report back to whoever had been sending those messages? We should be careful," Mia said, her voice trembling slightly. "What if they know what we're planning?" "We'll face it together," Sam said firmly, squeezing Mia's shoulder. But deep down, a gnawing feeling took hold. Were they really ready for whatever was looming in that dark shape? The rally day was meant to be a demonstration of their courage, a bold shout against injustice. Even so, with every plan laid down and each shout practiced, a shadow lingered at the back of her mind. What would happen if that shadow unleashed its terrifying whispers? As the sky began to darken with the approaching clouds, Mia felt the chill creep back into her bones. She had been brave, but the war was only starting. And just like shadows, dark truths could stretch far beyond what the eye could see. Mia's heart raced at the prospect. Were they truly ready to confront the ghosts of fear lurking in the corners of this fight? The day of the rally dawned bright and warm, but the air hung heavy with tension. Mia stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her hair nervously. The light poured in, wrapping her in warmth, yet the chill from the last anonymous message clung to her. She took a deep breath, determined to focus on what mattered most. This was for her family, for her sister, and for everyone who had faced injustice. As she arrived at the park, the energy was electric. The sound of chatter and laughter filled the air, an amalgamation of excitement and fear. Friends and allies congregated, banners in hand, each one carrying a piece of their hearts represented by bold letters, "We can stand by." And for our voices. Seeing the crowd swell buoyed her spirit. But as she scanned the edges of the park, her heart thudded. There was still that lurking figure in the shadows, as ominous as ever. Was it the same person from before? Were they really watching? Emma approached her, determination in her eyes. "This is it, Mia. We can't let fear stop us. We're stronger than whatever threats they throw our way." "You're right," Mia said, swallowing the hesitation that threatened to knot her stomach. "We're here for a reason." The crowd grew, a mixture of passionate faces and curious onlookers. Mia felt the pulse of their collective heartbeats, thumping with ambition. As she climbed onto the makeshift stage, her legs trembled. She took another breath and launched into her speech. "This isn't just about us. This is about voicing the silent struggles that lie beneath the surface. This is about families like mine, and so many others who work hard but feel invisible." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. As she spoke, a familiar face emerged. Her sister, Ivy, squeezed through the throngs and stepped forward, confidence radiating with every step. Tears stung Mia's eyes. "I came!" Ivy exclaimed, her voice bright. For a split second, their eyes locked, and in that moment, the two sisters shared a silent vow, their shared fire, their battle for justice. Mia continued, "We can build a stronger community together. No one deserves to be exploited or overlooked." It was as if her words acted as a magnetic charm. The energy in the crowd surged as people began to chant. "We are strong. We are loud. Change is coming. We are proud." Those words crushed against the lining of Mia's chest, and suddenly, the figure lurking at the park's edge stepped into the light. A dark silhouette transformed almost suavely, revealing a woman in a suit. The crowd hesitated, uncertainty rippling through them like a wave. The woman raised her hands, silencing the chants. "I'm here to deliver a message from the company," her tone smooth, but it sent a shiver down Mia's spine. "We will not tolerate disruptions." The crowd murmured with unease, but Mia's heart raced with stubborn courage. "This is our time. If you think your threats will work, you're wrong." "Is it worth risking everything?" the woman countered sharply. Mia inhaled, summoning every inch of bravery. The specter of her family's struggles flickered in her mind, each sacrifice, every determined moment. "Yes. It is worth it. Because standing here isn't merely about fear, it's about the future. We won't back down." The shouts erupted, a deafening affirmation that drowned out the world around them. Staring down the intimidation, Mia felt unstoppable. But just as the momentum peaked, another figure stepped forward, snarling through gritted teeth, "You'll regret this." It was a programmer from the company, one she had seen in that defining moment before. "Fear won't silence us anymore." Mia shouted defiantly, raising her fist in solidarity with Ivy, Emma, and everyone alongside her. The crowd echoed her, their spirits ablaze, a whirl of voices merging into one. As they turned to the protesting programmer, Mia felt a rush of satisfaction. For the first time, they were reclaiming their voices, each shout weaving the threads of their stories into a powerful tapestry. It was just the beginning of a long fight ahead, but in that moment, they had transformed fear into hope. The woman in the suit watched nervously, flanked by her programmer cohort, realizing the ground beneath them was shifting. This was no longer just Mia's fight. This was a community rising against oppression. "So, what's it going to be? Are you going to silence us, or are you going to listen?" Mia's voice rose above the fervor, and she felt the unity solidified. At that pivotal moment, when everything felt precarious yet beautifully alive, hope surged like wildfire through the crowd. Strength lay in their solidarity, and the rally became a signal, a blazing torch against a looming darkness. As the sun set behind them, Mia dared to believe the impossible. Change was on the horizon, and they were the ones leading the charge. And as they chanted together, moving toward a brighter future, she felt her heart swell. It was finally their turn to write the narrative. The world was listening. This was just the beginning of their incredible journey together. Now, more than ever, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support what we're doing. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting our channel. Let us keep this momentum going.